Hey, what's going on, guys? Thanks for checking out this video. My sports Gematria. In this video, I'm going to be talking about the debut weekend for the XFL and the connections I saw this weekend. I did make picks for each game, even though there's no team records, there's no head-to-head records, there's no quarterback records, there's no coach records, there's no records at all. But I still tried to make picks, and I found some interesting connections, even without any real data. This weekend I had the Defenders and Roughnecks on Saturday, and then I had the Guardians and Renegades on Sunday. Four picks total, went 3-1. Not a terrible start. I don't have any major expectations for this league. I'm going to be making picks for it, but I don't expect myself to do amazing just because it's a brand new league. There's no head-to-head records, there's no team records, so it's going to be trial and error, I imagine, for at least the first 5 weeks until those records build up towards the end of the season, heading into the playoff and championship game. But what's really fascinating is, yes, you can find numerical connections to a brand new sports league, XFL. I'm sure a lot of people were curious to see if their games were scripted or being scripted, or how easily you can see the scripting or how hard it is. I didn't do too bad this weekend, but there's definitely some connections to the Hebrew calendar and the Gregorian calendar, and particularly the games on Sunday had some serious Hebrew calendar connections. The Guardians and the Vipers game, we'll go over that one, but let's just go through it. So on the left side is what I call my daily numbers. This is date numerology. I track the Gregorian calendar and both sides of the Hebrew calendar. And then on the right side is what I call my game numbers. And we'll look at all four games, and I'll just go over the connections I saw. And that'll be about it. So for the first game, the Defenders versus the Dragons. This was played on Saturday. So right here I have Saturday's date numerology for the Gregorian as well for the Hebrew. And the first thing that I noted when I was looking at this game, when I put this game together, and just to show you where the structure is, this is the location of the game. So this game was played in Washington, D.C. This is the distance to the championship game on April 26th. So it was 78, or a total span of 79 days to the championship game on Saturday. This is the away team. So this is the coach, Jim Zorn, his Gematria, his birthday, to and from. The quarterback, his number, his name, Gematria, his age, birthday, and to and from. The Dragons, Seattle Dragons, Gematria, and this is their season record and away record, which is just 1 and 0s. In the middle is the head-to-head record, which obviously there is none, so it's their first time head-to-head. And in the bottom is the home team. So the Defenders, Gematria, their season record. Here's the coach right here, his Gematria, his age, birthday, to and from, and then the quarterback. So this game is fascinating. It definitely is fascinating. Saturday was the 132nd day on the Hebrew civil calendar. The 132nd day. The starting quarterback, Cardale Jones, for the DC Defenders, came into this game 132 days since his 27th birthday. So 132 days since his 27th birthday. On the 132nd day on the Hebrew civil calendar, he gets his start. The Defenders play their first game against the Seattle Dragons. I marked the 27, his age, 27, and the reason why I did that is because 27 equals both 172 and 46. And the Defenders equals 46. Starting quarterback for the Dragons, his name sums to 172. And this game was played in Audi Field, 172. Audi Field also equals 44. Just like the Defenders equal 44, which is their home field. And then the starting quarterback, Cardale Jones, he sums to 44. But I like that it was 132 days since his 27th birthday. today, or not today, but Saturday being the 132nd day on the Hebrew Civil. So we have a nice little connection there to the Hebrew. Another thing that I marked was that it was the 39th day on the Gregorian civil year. Jim Zorn, the coach for the Dragons, sums to 39. And then Dragons sums to 39. So the first game of the XFL comes on the 39th day of the Gregorian, and one of the first teams playing is the Dragons, which sums to 39. On top of that, it's 78 days, or a total span of 79 days, till the championship game, and Dragons sums to 78. The Dragons were the first team to score a touchdown in the XFL league. It was scored by number 13 to get the first 6 points of the entire season, of the entire league, and it came at the hands of the Seattle Dragons. And I find it fascinating because it was the 13th day on the Hebrew calendar, and it was number 13 from the Seattle Dragons that scored the first XFL touchdown of the entire league. 13, the sixth prime number, he gets the 6 points. But I thought it was interesting that Dragons equals 78, 78 days till the championship game. They get the first touchdown to open up the season. But ultimately, it was the DC Defenders that won the game. And I mostly picked it because of the 132, even though it was basically a guess. And I say that on my Patreon page when I made the picks. I said, fair warning, new league, no team records. It's a guess right now. But interesting, there's still connections there. Brand new league. And so we look at the second game for the day. This was mostly the Gregorian. The Roughnecks versus the Wildcats. Away team, LA Wildcats up here. Roughnecks down here. On the Gregorian, there was 30 date numerology. And that's basically what I went by, 30 and 50. And the word 50 sums to 30. Well, the Roughnecks summed to 50. The coach for the Roughnecks, June Jones, sums to 113, which is the 30th prime number. The game was being played in Texas, which sums to 66 and 30, which is the Gematria for 50. 50 sums to 30 and 66. So the 6630, the 50, and the 113 made me think of the Roughnecks. Home game, first home game. Connects to the calendar, connects to the location, somewhat, at least the state, the team name, the coach. I mean, there really wasn't a whole lot to go by. Again, it was just a guess. But there are some connections here that you can see. The coach was 66 years old, so date numerology of 50. 50 sums to 30 and 66. Date numerology of 30 as well. 66-year-old coach, whose name sums to 113, the 30th prime. Roughnecks equal 50. Playing in Texas, 6630. I just like how it connected to the coach and Roughnecks. So that's why I took them. But actually, I want to come back up here really quick to this game. I just remembered something. Audi Field, 44. Defenders, 44. Cardell Jones, 44. If we pop this into Gematria, 44, we get 144. And mathematics tells us that 12 times 12 sums to 144. And 144 is also the 12th Fibonacci number. And the first game of the XFL featured number 12, Cardell Jones, versus number 12, Brandon Silvers. 12 times 12 equals 144. 144, the 12th Fibonacci number. 44 sums to 144. We have Cardell Jones, 44. Defenders, 44. At home, and Audi Field, 44. That just popped in my head, so I wanted to show you guys. There's definitely more. Even though it doesn't show that I marked it, there's more to it here. And then back to the Roughnecks and the Wildcats. Yeah, so I took the Roughnecks based off of the 50 and the 30 and the 66. So the coach's name, the Roughnecks. Wasn't a whole lot to go by, but I made a decent guess. And then we go to the Sunday games. Now this one is the most connected to the Hebrew calendar, and it's very bizarre that it's well connected. So Sunday was the Vipers versus the Guardians. The Guardians were the only underdog at home, and they ended up winning. But for the date numerology, it was the Hebrew Civil 14th day of the 5th month on the Hebrew Civil calendar, the 133rd day of the year. 14th day of the 5th month. It kind of looks like the number 145. Mark Trestman, the coach for Vipers, his name sums to 145. Aaron Murray, the starting quarterback for the Vipers, his name sums to 145. They both get their debut start on the 14th day of the 5th month of the Hebrew Civil calendar, like 145. Aaron Murray, the quarterback, it is 91, or a total span of 92 days since his 29th birthday. So basically, it was his 92nd day of being 29 years old. 29 and 92 are reflections of each other. This game was played on February the 9th. 2/9 looks like a 29. 92nd day of his age of being 29 years old, reflections of each other. But not only that, you type in 92 in Gematria, and it sums to 145. 92, 145. It was, if I can bring this up, it was the 14th day of the 5th month on the Hebrew Civil calendar, like 145. Total span of 92 days since his 29th birthday, reflections of each other on February the 9th. Aaron Murray, 145. Mark Trestman, 145. Now, the reason why I didn't pick the Vipers because of this connection is it just seems way too perfect. Way too perfect for it to be. It almost seems like Aaron Murray should have died on Sunday. is what it tells me. You know, these are type of the connections that you'd see when somebody like passes away, right? Like it's just way too perfect to his age, the distance, the name, the date. This is like what you would see if Aaron Murray were to die. But even that, New York Guardians, who they played against, sums to 92 as well. So 92 sums to 145. We have the New York Guardians playing on the 14th day of the 5th month, 145. They're facing a quarterback who sums to 145 and a coach who sums to 145. The quarterback is a total span of 92 days since his 29th birthday. It's the number 11 quarterback versus the number 14 quarterback. On the Hebrew religious calendar, it's the 14th day of the 11th month. So both calendars are in effect for this game, which is just phenomenal. And the reason why I picked the upset Guardians at home is I was going based off of it being the 40th day of the year on the Gregorian, and the word 40 sums to 30. Here, I'll show you. 40 sums to 30. And there was 30 connections. So East Rutherford, New Jersey, sums to 113, the 30th prime. Home teams, which is the only record I can go based off of at this point, would become 3-0, like 30 with a win. The starting quarterback for the Guardians was 30 years old. And the Guardians, the word Guardian sums to 40. So 40 equals 30. They have a quarterback who's 30 years old. Home teams can go 3-0, like 30. This game is being played in East Rutherford, New Jersey, 113, the 30th prime. But not only that, 30 sums to 37. And Vipers sums to 37. This game was played in MetLife Stadium, 157, which is the 37th prime number. So that's why I picked Guardians. I thought Aaron Murray was way too connected to the Hebrew calendar, way too connected to the date and the numerology and Gematria. And he probably should have passed away on Sunday. But instead, he lost a football game. And let's go to the next one. So this is the one I got wrong. And my idea was home teams were going to go 4-0, like 40 on the 40th day of the year on the Gregorian. But instead, they went 3-1, like 31. And the Gregorian calendar did have 31 date numerology, so I marked the 3-1 red. And the other thing I marked red was Dallas Renegades equals, I forgot to put an equal sign there, equals 127, 127, the 31st prime number. So there is a connection there for the reason why Dallas Renegades lost and home teams went 3-1 for the weekend. But I did pick Renegades, and they were really connected to the Hebrew calendar as well. And I should have heeded the same warnings as I did with the Vipers, because Sunday was the 133rd day of the year on the Hebrew civil calendar, and the word 48 sums to 133. And Renegades sum to 48. Their coach, Bob Stoops, sums to 48. And this game was being played in Arlington, which sums to 133. So definitely some connection there. On top of that, the Hebrew civil calendar had 99 date numerology, as well as 156 date numerology. The starting quarterback, Philip Nelson, he was born on 9/11, and 9/11 is the 156th prime number. Bob Stoops, he was born on 9/9, like 99. So we have 99, 156, 9/11, the 156 prime, the 133rd day, 48 equals 133, Bob Stoops 48, Renegades 48, Arlington 133. So there's definitely some connection there. And then one thing that I marked similar to, I didn't mark, but I thought of. So the first game of the XFL season was 78, or a total span of 79 days till the championship game. 78, Dragons 78. The Dragons lost this game, and it's the same thing for the Renegades. Renegades equals 78. It was 77, or total span of 78 days till the championship game. 78, 78. So both teams that were connected to the number 78 and the distance to the championship game lost. One was a home team, one was an away team. And the teams that were heavily connected, Renegades to the Hebrew calendar on Sunday, and the Vipers also lost. So the XFL season just started. It's getting going. There's definitely numerical connections there that can be found. I do make public posts on my Patreon. So if you don't want to join my Patreon for sports picks, that's fine. No big deal. But I do make public posts that you don't even need to be a member of Patreon in general to see. They're just for the public. So I posted my Guardians and Vipers Hebrew connection, the 145 with Aaron Murray, how it was the 14 versus the 11. And then I also posted the quarterback Cardell Jones, how his distance from his birthday was connected to the date on the Hebrew. Keenan brought up some really good numbers for DC Defenders, the coach, the quarterback, the owner. This is when I marked the number 13 on the 13th day, gets the first touchdown of the XFL league. Made a post about Caitlin Kuchigan. She was heavily connected to the Hebrew calendar before her fight, before she lost. Seriously connected. Yeah, and I make other public posts that you guys can see. But I think that's it for this video. Hopefully this helps. I know some people probably were interested in the XFL, see if there's any scripting or numbers. There definitely is. And the Hebrew calendar plays a huge factor. And actually, you know what? Let me see. Let's go to images. So number 13 scores the first touchdown. This is what I wanted to see. Like, this is what I noticed when I was watching the game. A lot of the guys would have these crosses on their face. You know, you just do the marks. They had these crosses, you know, for whatever reason. And a lot of them had that. I wish I would have screenshotted some of it, because even on like their mouthpieces, they had crosses on their mouthpieces. At least on the Dragon side, I saw that a couple of times. But I kept on seeing the crosses. I don't know if that means anything or what, if it was just a coincidence, but I don't know. Thanks for checking out this video, guys. I'll keep them coming.